Welcome to Dirty Mind, the podcast where we get to hear words that are being spewed out of my boca. Boca is mouth in Espanol. Espanol is Spanish for Spanish. So what we're going to be talking about today is pretty straightforward. We're going to be talking about gaming. We're going to be talking about gaming series. Oh, just made it a little more complicated. If I was just talking about gaming, that would have been a pretty broad topic and sort of just maybe a little too vague, but I made it more specific by talking about series. Did I say that word series? I think I did. Here it is, and that's sort of what we're talking about here today. It's ironic that I mention gaming series because that's what I'm going to be talking about today. That's so strange. So just a little warm up, a little appetizer, a little rosemary carrots for you. What we're going to be talking about is specific to playthroughs and cinematic series and basically more long-form, multi-part episodic episodes. I guess that makes sense. Episodic episodes. Is that putting a hat on a hat? Who cares? Everyone loves a good hat. And so, yeah, let's just like tantalize that tantalization, and we'll be right back to this topic that I just spent an absurd amount of time setting up. But before we get into that, it's time for everybody's favorite segment, Old News.
I got nothing new for you.
Are you tired of having all of your bread just in big old lumps? The kind that look like they just fell out of an elephant. Well, guess what? We got some fantastic news for you. I don't think it would be too premature to say that this is going to change things forever. This is going to be like Joker talking to Batman in The Dark Knight. You've changed things forever, you know? I think, is that the line? You've changed, yeah. You're just like me, you're a freak. I forget the order of the lines. Yeah, there's no going back. Yeah. See, I'm just thinking of the trailer, not the actual movie. Isn't that interesting how you can be more responsive to what happened in a trailer than what the actual line was in the movie itself? I feel like that has something to do with, well, obviously, if it's a trailer, that's something that you can watch over and over, and you can watch it real quick. The availability is ready. It's right there on the internet. There's probably a dozen different sources that you can go to watch the same trailer, or there's multiple trailers, and it's a lot shorter, so you can replay it, loop it over and over. So I've definitely watched more trailers than I have movies, and I've watched a lot of movies. That's not to say that I watch a trailer for every movie. In fact, I like to not watch trailers, personally, if I can avoid it. I started doing that for certain sequels where I'm like, okay, I want to go into this one blind. Or when Force Awakens came out, I did not watch any trailers. I didn't listen to any news about it. I didn't look at any pictures behind the scenes. I didn't even really know who was going to be in it. I knew Adam Driver was going to be in it. That was about it. Didn't see any trailers. And that experience was amazing. I loved watching a movie, especially a Star Wars movie, and not having a clue what I was going into. And also, I didn't realize that they had new flavors of icy. That was probably beneficial, because usually you think of the ices, the little slushies, and you're like, okay, red and blue, right? Classic. They had orange and green. Looking back, I don't remember what the flavors were. I have to imagine orange was just like, an obvious pina colada. But then the green, who knows? Who knows what the sour apple? I don't really know. So I just went ahead and combined them all. It ended up being like a purplish brown. So not super appetizing when you looked at it, but then you tasted it. I don't think it was that good. I don't think it mixed very well, but it was cool that it was really nice that it was a different flavor. It had the same texture as a slushy icy, right? I don't know. Icy, that's the brand. So a slushy in general has its whatever, it's just got its texture, but ices are always consistent. I think that's what they got going for them. You know what you're getting. Unless you don't know what the flavors are, which happened to me in 2015. Is that when it came out? That feels right. 2015? Yeah. So it didn't taste incredible. If I had just stuck to one, that would have been good. But I wanted to experience both of the flavors simultaneously. And I also wanted to have the classic red and blue. You can't not have the blue raspberry and the cherry. Is that what that is? I just pay attention to colors. I don't read too good. But yeah, I didn't want to have to go to the theater and go and finish the icy, the one flavor, go back, get the other flavor, come back, and then get the different one. Yeah, you just got to do it all at once. I didn't want to have to leave the theater for nothing, for nobody. And sorry, I just had a whole lot of ground chicken with no spice in it. So I think the thing that ended up not playing to my favor, or the favor of the icy, was having all these conflicting flavors together. It wasn't great. But the fact that there was something new was awesome, because you're used to having the texture of an icy with the Pacific Rim colors, the red and blue, and you know what you're getting. But having something different, that was pretty exciting. That was really exciting. Yeah. So, anyway, we got bread. Everyone knows how bread is made. It's with wheat. You take the wheat, you rip it out of the ground, you put a little water in it, you rub it on a tree, and you shake it out. You get all of the moisture out of it, and then you put it inside of an oven, ideally an oven that is surrounded by bricks. And it looks like not for a pizza. We'll get to pizza eventually, but the pizza type oven is ideal. So you got the bread baking in there. It just fluffs up somehow. We don't really know. I don't think science will catch up with that phenomenon for eons now, but we make it. We do. We know the steps that are required. But the thing of it is, the bread, there's too much. The quantity, quantity is great, but it's a big old lump. It's a big old chunky boulder, and nobody's got enough room on their counter. It's just spilling out. A bunch of slime. Like the villain from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like, now get off my counter, sir. Get off the quartzite. I wish I had quartzite. I have butcher block. I feel like butcher block shouldn't be allowed. Because it's wood, and you're just going to get stuff just like sinking in there. It's going to be all nasty within a fortnight. It's going to have disease, probably. Forget it if you got raw chicken anywhere near your counter. And I don't want to be afraid of putting food on my counter. It's my counter. I'm going to do what I want with it. I'm going to put food on it. I'm going to put my bare buns on it if I want and no one's around. I'm going to do that. And it's going to be fine. I'll do a handstand on it. Okay, I'm getting a little crazy here. Handstand on the counter. Hoof stands more like it. Oh, hip, 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 hoop, ha, ho, ha, ah. And, yeah, so anyway, the bread, there's too much bread. We get that. We figured that out. Let's move on. There's going to be a better way, and I'm going to tell you what that way is now. Check it out. We get a knife. I know what you're thinking. Why would we need a knife? The bread is not violent. We do not need a weapon. We'll take this. You grab the knife. You slice it perpendicular to the way that it's facing. Slice, and then do it again. Slice, so it's about half an inch, quarter of an inch, maybe wide, 3/4 of an inch. Whatever. I don't know. I'm not a math. And then you take that. Guess what you just got there, buddy? You got sliced bread. You got sliced bread in your kitchen or wherever you ended up slicing it. And you can do so much with that. You can make whatever you were making with the bread before, only it's flatter this time. You can take some meats, some turkey, some cold pressed turkey. You can put that on the flat bread and then put another flat bread on top of that. And what do you got there? You have turkey hiding in between some flat bread. I don't know. It's something to do if you got nothing else going on. You can do that. You can cut up your bread. Just slice it up there. Cut it up. Just mash it up. Don't mash it, but, slice it. Don't squish it. Get as sharp a knife as you can. Maybe you can ditch the knife altogether and get some thread. Put it on one stick and then connect it to a second stick and then slice it. I think that would work. Yeah, just use that use that, is it a fulcrum? Is that a fulcrum? It's been so long since I went to physical education class. Yeah, it should be good. I haven't tried it, if I'm being fully honest, but I have been told of the way that these things can go. And I'm pretty confident that if you want to go that direction, it'll be worth your while. Sliced bread, it's happening all across the country, all across the continents. The continent singular, Pangea. It's just maybe one day it'll be more than one continent. Then we'll all be unified. Once the continent spreads to multiple continents, then we'll all be unified. That'll be the day. And everybody will have their own places for when we're doing the Olympics instead of everyone just competing on the same team. No one really wins, especially in the team games. Everyone's just on the same team running to the other goal. It's like, yay, you hit it into the empty goal. Great. Whatever. It was a good movie. I was about to say The Emperor's New Groove. That is a good movie, but I was thinking of not Atlantis. El Dorado. The Road to El Dorado. There are some adult themes that they kind of went a little overboard on. If I'm being completely honest, they really pushed the envelope there in a way where if it came out today, there'd be riots. But the internet wasn't much of a thing. It wasn't a threat at that point. But what I liked about it was, I don't know why I liked it, but they had a little sport where, I think it's a real sport, where you hit the ball with your hip, and you're just like, hep, and you're just like, hep, hep, and then you go, hep, and then after that you go, oh, hip, and you hit the ball with your hip, and it has to go in the hoop, so it's a combination of soccer and basketball and hula hoop, and that just seemed like a lot of fun, but also the type where, unless you grew up in that culture and you have spent at least 11 years honing your skills, you're not going to stand a chance. It's not even worth trying. Just watch it from a distance, enjoy it that way, and play a different sport. Just play pickleball, just play cornhole. Yeah, just don't even embarrass yourself. But you know what they say, if there's an interesting looking sport that you've never heard of in a movie, that makes the movie good. So that's why I like The Road to El Dorado. The music was cool too. El Dorado, El Dorado, we're on the road, going to El Dorado, on the water, on the grass, on the sea, on the grass again. It's a good movie. I liked it. Emperor's New Groove is better, but that kind of goes without saying. Am I still in the old news segment? Let's go back to this. Let's get out of here. Welcome back to the bulk of the podcast. Probably, maybe, who knows? That could have been the bulk of the podcast. The rest of this could be just like 6 minutes. So talking about quality gaming series, I'm back on track. Just like a Hot Wheels. You ever have a Hot Wheels track? No, Dirt, stop it. Stop it, Dirt. No. But I want to talk about Hot Wheels. No. Not now, Dirt. Not now, not ever. I can't ever talk about Hot Wheels? Well, you can talk about Hot Wheels at some point, but we're recording a podcast, and we're supposed to be talking about Quality Gaming Series. Okay, but Hot Wheels relates to gaming, right? Kind of, but that's not what we're talking about right here. Have you ever done a series on Hot Wheels? Well, no. No, you haven't. You haven't done a series on Hot Wheels, and so it is not relevant. Maybe someone has, but you haven't, and you don't know anything about it, so just drop it. I'm not going to drop my Hot Wheels. They're fragile. Dirt! So, Quality Gaming Series come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. One of my ultimate all-time inspirations is NES Gaming. Love NES Gaming. Their content, the quality of the cinematic series are just wonderful. They have, I think, what really sells me. Obviously, they got great rapport between all of them. I used to say rapport as rapport because of Michael Rappaport, the actor. Those are two different things, apparently. Anyway, they have great rapport. They have great talking. They have great humor talking. Banter, that's the word, banter. Bruce Banter. And what they also have behind the scenes is amazing editing. They got good editing where they have cameras that are like free cameras inside the game world. They usually gravitate towards games like 7 Days to Die, where you can have, or Ark Survival, where you can have the players all in the same world, same server. And then you have another character who's invisible, floating around, getting this external view that makes it look like you're watching a documentary or a movie, a TV show. And that's wonderful. I love seeing that quality. But then they go even further, and with their acting, they commit, and none of it's scripted. Well, some of it's scripted, but the majority of it, probably 94% of it or more, is not scripted. And what they do is they really commit to making you feel like they are in the game. They are the characters experiencing these things. They act like they got pain. They have these little death sounds when their characters are eliminated. Sorry, I had a whole lot of ground chicken with no spice. And I think the death sounds are some of the best because at this point I almost glaze over it. I don't even notice anymore. Glaze has sort of changed, hasn't it, in recent years? It used to be if your eyes were glazed over, it's just like, you're not really paying attention. If you glaze over something, you're almost distorting what's underneath. But now it's emphasizing it. Words, the way that words change in society is fascinating. But what they do with these death sounds, I love. And I'm going to do just a few impersonations of some of these death sounds. I'm going to see if I can do all 5 of the original NES Gaming cast. So for Apsro, oh man, he yells. So it's like, something like that, sort of, more or less. And then Dorelius is pretty similar. Dorelius will be like, it's neither of those sound anything like them, but I'm going to keep going. And then Simon will be something like, okay, not like that. And then Neebs will be something like, once again, it didn't sound like that. And then Thick, R.I.P., the human man warrior, would sound something like, and yet again for the 5th time, not an accurate sound, but you get what I'm saying. They make, sorry, I had some ground chicken with no spice. They make little sounds that make it seem like they are their characters experiencing these traumatic events. And they'll also do incredible sound editing to make it seem like their voices are actually emitting from the characters in those locations. If they're in a tunnel, it'll have that reverb, the echo. If they're in a closed space, it sounds normal. If they're underwater, it sounds different. I love it. It's great. But all that quality, I don't think that's what makes a good series. That just adds to the deliciousness of it. I think what keeps me coming back to a series is having some type of mission. And it's very obvious when it's story driven, that you just playing the story, and if it's a good story, you're good. But, a lot of folk can be playing these games, these story games, and that doesn't mean everyone and their mother is going to watch this series. You have to be able to respond to it in a certain way that gives you a little personality, that makes you stand out from the crowd. And what NES Gaming has is they got their banter, they got the way that they have their internal conflicts, they have these great personalities clashing. They're not always the brightest bulbs in the batch of light bulbs, but that's okay. They don't need to be. They're entertaining no matter what. So when I'm making a series, I haven't done many long-lasting series. My Half-Life Alyx series is only 3 episodes. 3 episodes, maybe 4. I'd like to get back into doing more of that because Quincy gets very, not irritated. He just gets bored, he gets bored and he wants to do something. He wants to feel valuable, and I understand that. My longest series by far was the Long Dark Customer Service series with Muddy. That was a good time because I got to experience the Long Dark in a way that I had not experienced it before, with a pal, with somebody on the telephone every now and then. Sometimes he would get pulled away because he had to eat dinner, or he was forced to take some paid time off from his job, whatever it happened to be. But I think that was nice to be able to have this thing that it wasn't really a narrative part of it. I was playing just on survival, so there wasn't much of a story to it. But having that goal of getting out of there and having someone help, I think that's what kept it going. It was, I guess, what kept me going. Otherwise, I wouldn't have finished it because there wouldn't be a finish line. That's the next point I want to make. A series, you gotta remember, just like anything else, it has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. And if you don't have an end, or at least something prompting you to go towards an end, then what's the motivation to keep going? And that's something that I think some series fall into, a little pitfall of there being no objective. That's probably the most detrimental of all. Is you're just sort of there. You're just sort of existing. And anybody can play a video game and just exist. We want something more. We want a little bit of purpose. Otherwise, why are we watching you, We want a little escape. We want, I guess, just having someone with a plan. That's very tantalizing. I used to be in sort of a headspace where I always needed something to do. I always needed to have another thing I'm striving for. I'm still that way, probably more so than ever, but I have consistent things now where I don't have to grasp at straws. There it is. I used the wrong phrase at first. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm grasping at straws, not so much anymore, because I used to just make videos, just sort of purposeless, but I would be like, okay, well, now I got to come up with a new video, and then I would make that video, and I'm like, oh boy, that took me a month to make. All right, time to make a new video. What should this new video be about? And it's like, oh, golly, that's no way to live. That's no way to live. So now I have more consistent goals where I'm doing Dirt the Gamer videos. That's me, by the way. I'm Dirt the Gamer. Doing videos more consistently, and I know that I'm like sticking to No Man's Sky now and then. I like doing little series like The Long Dark, or the next one. Who knows what the next one's gonna be? Dun 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 dun. Hey, chill. I'll stop singing if that's what you're mad about. But other than that, I need to have some sort of purpose, and I think that's what gaming series gives you. It gives you a little purpose. And if you're the type who needs that, I think that's what playthroughs, walkthroughs, they're good, but I like something that has a little more of a drive to it. I like videos where you can tell right in the title what they're up to, or in the thumbnail. You're like, oh, okay. So they are trying to battle 3,000 elves versus 2 John Wicks. Okay, yeah, I get that. I understand what the point is. Obviously, it's to see if 2 John Wicks can take on 3,000 elves. And you know what is going to be the bulk of the content is the fight between the John Wicks and the elves. And you know what the resolution is going to be, what the ending is going to be. One, either the John Wicks, they reign supreme and they are alive at the end, or at least one elf is still alive, and both of the John Wicks are in the ground 6 feet under. And so you know right away. And that's something where you can sort of turn your brain off. You always have in the back of your mind, you can have little anticipatory thoughts. You can have predictions where you're like, oh, well, the John Wicks, you gave him 2 John Wicks. Obviously, the John Wicks are going to survive. Or you could be thinking, 3,000 elves? If it was 300 elves, yeah, no. But 3,000 elves, the elves have got this in the bag. Don't even make me laugh. I hate it when you try to make me laugh. Knock it off. I've got a heart palpitation. Stop trying to make me laugh. I'll have to take more medicine, and it cost a fortune. Get up on out of here and take the fire escape while you're at it. Someone needs to make sure that it works just in case there actually is a fire. Get out of here and give me my grandma's shawl back. So that's what I like, is an objective-based video where you know what you're getting into, and you can have your little hopes and dreams and fears about what the outcome is going to be. And I think that's what series are good for. And it doesn't, like, maybe it needs to be specified in the first video, but maybe not the rest, or it could just be implied. Maybe something that's not so in your face. Like in this series, in this episode 4 out of 13, we are going to make sure that we build a factory whose full purpose is to projectile vomit a bunch of nanites right into a pelican. I don't know. Listen, I'm not paid to think. I'm not paid at all. Not according to the government. Haha, winks. I don't know. There's a lot going on today. Speaking of a lot going on, we got a sponsor segment, and this is gonna be a sponsor segment. Just you wait. Are you tired of everyone knowing when you're eating a burrito? Well, guess what? We are dropping the Incognito Burrito, a beautiful, invisible burrito where no one will know that you're eating said burrito. The Incognito Burrito is the first of its kind. It does not apply to any other type of food. If you take the wrap off for any reason whatsoever, the mystery is gone, it's evaporated, the illusion is shattered. Keep the wrap on. Don't let too much of the innards spill out either. It is real food. It will go in your tummy. And that's where I'm gonna stop talking because the lawyers don't want me to say anything else. The Incognito Burrito, I promise you, it is an Incognito Burrito. That's what I promise. That it will be on the name, that will be the name on the box, okay? That's all I gotta say. It's wonderful. It's probably gonna change your life. I'm not gonna promise that it will, but it will be one of those things where you're like, wow, today is different than yesterday, in a good way, probably. Thank you so much to the company that created the Incognito Burrito. I am just a wee spokespig, and I'm so happy to be here. And this is not written down, mind you. If it was written down, I'd probably be talking a lot slower because I would have to be reading and moving my hoof along the lines to make sure I'm actually on the correct line and reading the right words and that it is in the correct language. But no, this is all coming for the heart. Thank you. The makers of Incognito Burrito are absolute legends. So get yours today, and don't let anybody know when you're eating a burrito ever again. Make no compromises, no mercy, no never, not nobody, no how. Welcome back. We only have a small smidge of time left, so in this amount of time, I'm just going to ponder some different series that may or may not be on the horizon for Dirt the Gamer. That is me and my uploads to YouTube. So from looking at a little combination of stuff that I've already done, stuff that I would like to do, and stuff that others have suggested that I do, we sort of have a nice little pool of possibilities, the possibility pool. No Man's Sky, I've done one consistent series for permadeath, and that was fairly short, maybe 3 episodes, I think. I didn't do as amazing as I thought I might do, even though it was on the hardest difficulty. But I'm thinking it's probably time that I give that another shot. So that could be on the horizon, a permadeath series on very hard difficulty. And I was thinking of throwing in another little twist. Just like my tail. Got a nice little little vortex. So perhaps a challenge like I can only stay on one planet, or I can't even leave that planet, or maybe just one solar system, something like that, and I can't leave. I don't know if that really does a whole lot. It doesn't limit too much unless I was trying to do the story, but I wouldn't be doing that on this. So there's that, and then there's also, we got the classic Half-Life Alyx. I haven't even finished it. Most folk probably don't know this, but I love Half-Life Alyx, real good game, but I've never finished it because when I'm playing it, I'm playing with Quincy. It's me and Quincy against the world. So I've played up until the point that you've seen, and I haven't gone any further. So I would like to finish that. It's probably just in time, right? Because Half-Life Alyx came out, 4 or 5 years ago? So yeah, now is probably a good time to finish it. So we could do that, get Quincy back on the horse, back on the stallion, back on the bronco. There's a lot of words for horses and horse-type aminos. Back on the giraffe. There we go. And then, I guess other games exist. Is that something that I've heard that is real? I've been playing a good amount of space games, but sometimes I want to be more boots on the ground, I don't know, more boots on the ground, have my boots touching the ground, when you have your boots and they're not up in the air, they're rather on the ground, yeah? Boots are touching the ground and I'm in the boots. The boots are on the ground and on my feet at the same time, simultaneously. How about that? There's 2 games I'm looking forward to that may or may not be relevant to what I was just talking about 4 minutes ago, and those are Super Mario Party Jamboree and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We got October and November. What's the word when it's like you're saying like compared to the things that I just said? Respectively. Yeah, coming out October and November respectively. So I have some, not qualms, I have some reservations about Super Mario Party Jamboree. I love a good Super Mario Party, Mario Party, just in general, just Mario Party, period. But I have many issues with Super Mario Party, which came out onto the Switch 2 years ago, maybe 3 years, I don't know. So Mario Party Superstars. There's too many supers. The word super is just occurring far too often. I think The Boys has been a bad influence on everyone. But Mario Party Superstars, that's my favorite Mario Party of all time. Love it so much. Flower and I, we play it all the time. We have 160 hours at least, and that the last time I checked, we're max level. We can't get any more points, and I hate that. I hate that there's a cap. It won't let me get any more points, but that's neither here nor there. What I like about it is just the way that the game is so simple. It's such a simple setup for you. It's just like a normal board game. The rules aren't changing every 2 seconds. In Super Mario Party, things are much less consistent, and the board changes a little bit more often, and the numbers are worse, and the dice don't do what the dice supposed to do. And also just the visual look of the boards, I didn't like. They're too grid-like. The ones on Mario Party Superstars, they were just so beautiful. They looked like real boards, real board games. It was so nice, and there's more organic shapes and movements to it. I loved it. So I'm just really hoping that in Super Mario Party Jamboree, they don't go the way of Super Mario Party. However, from what we've seen in the trailer, it seems like that might already be something that I can no longer hope for because it has been hoped against. Does that make sense? So we've seen that things are going to be more variable with like the dice rolls. You can have like a mega dice roll where you can get up to 40. I feel like that's baloney. Ham and cheese and bologna, but neither of those. In other words, awful. Ham and cheese, awful. Well, the cheese is fine, but awful. No, thank you. Maybe it could work. I don't know. But also, I want to be able to play with a normal controller, with the Pro controller, not with the, what are they called? The Switch sticks, the Webbles, the Wabblies, the Wongle Wands. Those. Yeah. You know what I'm talking. The Joy-Cons, I think. Yeah, Joy-Cons. I don't want to play with those all the time, and I don't want to use motion controls all the time. I just want to be vegging out on the couch using the Pro controller. So if I can do that, we're in business. And that seems like it's real good because you can have the option, I've seen, you can have the option to have the motion stuff or not have that. And that might exclude half of the games. I'm okay with that, you know? I don't need to be having all 111 mini games available to me, whatever the number is, 112, 170, who knows? It could be all of those in both. And the maps, a decent amount of maps, like between 5 and 7. I'm okay with that. But time will tell if it's more like Mario Party Superstars or more like Super Mario Party. Probably the latter, unfortunately, but we will see. I'm still holding out hope. Looking forward to October 17th. But how about November? What does November hold? Well, we got a classic Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And that's coming out in November 2000, what is this year? 2024? November 19th. And what I loved, all they had to say was that there are missions. That's all I needed. You can be a rescue pilot. You can deliver stuff. You can be an aerial firefighter. You can have like a private plane and you're taking someone fancy with their fancy gold luggage to a fancy place like Bermuda or Pennsylvania, you know. All I needed was missions, you know, just structure it. Now, I did not get Flight Simulator 2020, probably for that reason. I hope we have VR again. But also, at that time that it came out, my PC was not very good. It is much better now because it's completely different. And it actually has, you know, RAM and other things. It's got a fan in it. How about that? So, yeah, 2024, I've been looking forward to it since 2023. Oh, man, so many numbers ago. But once again, I have some reservations, not as many as with Jamboree over there. The reservation, the biggest one, being the file size, I don't want to get rid of any games. Is it going to be just like it was before, where it's like 160 gigabytes or something crazy like that? Now, I have 160 gigabytes available. I have more than that. But if it's one of those games where I kind of have to put it on one of the drives and never use that drive again, I don't know. It just makes me feel sad for that drive. Because, like, what if that drive doesn't like piloting? What if that drive is scared of flying? Then I'm putting the E drive or whatever it's going to be through just an absolute heck all the time, just a heckin' terrible time, just flying through heck. Oh, gosh. Oh, heck. You know what I'm saying? There's a young little kitten near me, so I'm trying to be especially nice. I guess if I was being more nice and gentle, I probably just wouldn't have used the word heck at all. I could have found a different phrase like, oh gosh golly. Even that's a little aggressive. Maybe, oh, hamburgers just go the way of butterscotch. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't really have many qualms. I think I'm going to get it. But gee whiz. I think the qualmiest qualm that I have is that it's going to be a new game at a new game price for a long time, and I want it now. I want it sooner than when it's actually coming out. And I don't like buying games full price. A lot of folk know this about me. I'm not a big fan of buying new games right when they come out. I never have been. I think the first new game that I ever bought, where it was like the week it came out, was Call of Duty Black Ops, the original Black Ops. I believe, I'm not positive, I believe that was the first game I ever bought brand new. And yeah, it might have been the day, definitely the weekend that it came out. $60, even back then. And I was looking at it, I'm like, this better be good. And it was good. That was a great time. Original Black Ops, I actually finished the campaign and was like, whoa, that was quality. And then I was done with the campaign and continued to play another 50 hours of online. It was a good time. It was a great time. But usually, if I'm going to get a game, it's going to be the type of game that's been sitting in my wish list for 2 years, and then I see that it's got a 30% discount on Steam, and I'm like, is this the time? Is this the time? And I look at the history, the charts where it goes with all the sales, and it's like, all right, it's never been more than a 30% discount. So if you want it, this is the time to get it. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pull the trigger, and I do, and I'm like, yay! I got it for 30% off, and I can't wait to tell all of my friends, and I don't tell anybody. And then I play it for a few days, and then I'm disappointed in myself, and then I don't play it for 2 months, and then I play it again, and I'm like, oh, no, this is fantastic. This is great. I don't know why I was so worried. So sometimes there can be this almost opposite reaction where you have these high expectations for a $60 game, but it almost makes you value it more sometimes because you're like, this is like, I'm putting money into it. It has to be quality. It has to be a good chunk of entertainment here. But then on the opposite end, if you get something and it's like 90% off, you're thinking, well, why is it 90% off? Is it actually terrible? Right? So, and then you got that sitting in the back of your mind, and you're playing it, and you're like, good. Oh, there was a frame drop. Oh, that's probably why it was 90% off. It's got terrible performance. Did I waste that $3.99? You know? I don't know. I don't know. So anyways, today's lucky color is coming right up. So open up your ears and get your markers out, even though you probably don't have a marker for this specific color. Just please stand by. Today's lucky color is tawny. Tawny, Tawny. It's a nice light brown orange. It's pleasant. I like it, and the name is also funny. So Tawny's hex code is 80471C. 80471C. And I've seen some different ones for Tawny where it's not that exact hex code, but that's the one I'm going with because I liked that shade the best. Sometimes I don't know where these colors come from and like who's deciding which name goes with which hex code, which goes with which RGB, and it's different in different websites. I don't know. I just have to commit to one and say, this is the universe that I am associating with at the current moment. So Tawny, you got to look out for. It's going to be popping up a little bit more in the autumn with the way that the flowers are going to be falling and the leaves are going to be falling on top of the flowers. And you're going to be like, whoa, is that a leaf flower? And it's like, no, it's just a leaf on top of a flower. And you're like, oh, that makes more sense. I'm an idiot. Don't call yourself an idiot. You're really creative. Oh, thank you. So Tawny is going to be a real beautiful color that's going to lead to nothing but happiness and, well, maybe not happiness, content, a content feeling. That's probably all you need. So yeah, before we wrap up today, just remember, what is today but today's yesterday? Wait. No, that sounds right. Today's yesterday. Thank you for listening and being alive and being super cute, because without that combination, then what would be the point? Goodbye.